Hail, Thrand here, and welcome to another episode of Thrand Can Cook in his Viking Heathen Alchemical Kitchen, or that's what everyone wants me to call it. We probably will do a label, a tag, and do that. We'll actually have that as what it's under if you look for them in a grouping of the videos. I don't think I can put that in the actual title of each episode. It'll probably be just what we're doing. And today we're going to be making curds and whey. We're going to be doing that with the buttermilk or sour milk that we did in our original video that we released of this. And right now I've got two samples of it. I mean, I've got one that's about this full and one's about that full, so we've got about a half a gallon. You can do this with yogurt. You can do this with raw milk if you have it. What's going to happen is we're going to put the same milk. This was a little bit of an older one here, so it's already probably starting to separate on its own. And what we want is we want the whey to separate from the cream, or from the curds, which is actually that's the actual cheese. So what's going to happen is we're going to end up with a form of cream cheese, since we're starting off with the milk I showed you how to make with the milk from the store. We're going to end up, instead of more of a curds and whey, we're going to end up with more of a cream cheese and whey. But you can still use the whey for what have you. You can use the cream cheese for spreading on your toast in the morning, whatever you like. It's really nice cream cheese when we get done. I'll show you how to strain it and get it. But right now we're going to pour these in here. And this is a big jar. Just, I mean, it's bigger than what I need. But just in case we have more milk than I can handle, I'd rather use a bigger jar than too small a jar. And it's going to pour it all in here. It might be a little clumpy. It might be starting to separate. It's still good. There's no mold on it. And one thing, if you want to keep these a long time, whether they're refrigerated or not refrigerated, be sure, I don't want to shake these right now because I don't want them to be shaken up, but you shake them. Every day you use some, or you use a little bit, shake it. Or just go shake it when you're not using it. As long as the whey stays mixed with the milk, it's gonna be buttermilk. It's going to be what you're used to, like a buttermilk, a thick buttermilk, even if it gets old. And it shouldn't grow mold on it because the whey will retard that to keep that from happening. But these are both still really good. We're going to pour these in the jar. And this should make quite a bit of curds and whey because we're doing a half a gallon here. That's pretty much a half a gallon. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this on top. And like I said, I use plastic bags as airlocks. This one doesn't necessarily have to have an airlock. It's not going to expand and blow anything up, most likely. You could use a lid. But I don't like using lids because this is a metal lid, as you can see here. It's steel. And this is acidic. And I don't like using steel and metals with acids. It's just not something I do. And I just used one of my old hair ties to put this on with. I could have used a rubber band, whatever, elastic. And that's all this is a release pressure if it has any, which this one shouldn't have much. It's not a ferment like a sauerkraut or a ale. But this is going to separate. And what we're going to do is we're going to leave this milk out for 24 to 48 hours or so, and you will see it separate. And since it's already got a living culture in it, this is not going to go bad. Being set out for 2 days, even if it takes a little bit longer, it's not going to go bad. It's just going to turn into curds and whey. And then we're going to strain it through either cheesecloth or a cloth, and we'll be doing that next. But I'm going to set this out now, and we'll be back here in a bit. And what we've done today is we've made Clabber, one word for it, or we made, it's going to be cream cheese when we get done because we want all that whey out of there. But as you see, what has happened is it's separated, it's curdled. And if you hear stories about your family members or something where they used to have a root cellar, and it stayed about like 60, 70 degrees down there all the time, and they just had raw milk down there, and it turned into something like this. And they ate it for breakfast with, just scoop it out of here. You just scoop it out like it is. You don't even worry about separating it like we're going to do in a minute. We're going to sieve it and get the whey out because we want it for other projects. And we want this for our cream cheese to put on stuff, which is still basically kind of like Clabber or kind of a farm yogurt. But what we're going to do is we'll take this here and we'll taste it. But one thing I want to tell you all, I keep making buttermilk over and over again, making whole milk. This is whole milk buttermilk. I keep making it over and over again. So yes, it gets other forms of symbiotic bacteria in it. And the symbiotic bacteria won't hurt you, but it will change the flavor over time. It will still taste good. If it doesn't taste good or smell good, then don't use it. But if you want to have it taste more like traditional Clabber, you could put cheesecloth across the top, anything to keep bugs out. I put kind of an airlock. I didn't really care. I already knew that I've made it over and over again so many times that it's not the original product anyway. It's got other bacteria that are lactobacillus and maybe even some yeast. You might get a little bit of alcohol and stuff, but not much. It'll just start growing it. But let's taste it and see how it tastes. It's like Clabber. I'm gonna get a piece because I mean it still has whey in it when you eat it as Clabber. Kind of like Curds and Whey, but it's not. You know, it's not. How do I explain? It's not like cottage cheese from the store. That's a different process, and it's actually cooked. We're not cooking anything. I don't want to put it back in there because I'm going to let Pilgrim taste it. And yes, it tastes like cottage cheese, sorry, with the whey in it. Go ahead and taste that and tell us what you think. I think it tastes quite good.
Oh, that is delicious. Yeah, you know, it's almost like a sour cream or a buttermilk. That Clabber has that.
Right, but
you can definitely tell it tastes right. It tastes right.
They would normally put molasses, sugar in it. Some people put black pepper in it. I've heard all different kinds of things. Fresh fruit. You can use it just like this if you want, but we want that way. So what we're going to do now is we'll put our airlock over here. Not to worry about it. And we've got a stainless steel bowl. People say do not use stainless steel, but we didn't have anything else. This is just a big stainless steel bowl. Stainless steel usually does not react with acids. Whey is acidic, okay? It can be used as a starter to start fermenting meats, to preserve meats, to start vegetables, to lacto-ferment vegetables. We can do all this. And trust me, the Vikings would have had this very product here. Because this is basically just regular milk, like raw milk, which you can start off with that or you can start off with yogurt, and it sets in a cool place, covered so bugs can't get in. It doesn't necessarily have to be covered airtight like I did it. And it transforms. It turns into this eventually. If I don't keep adding fresh milk to my buttermilk, and then, you know, stirring it, you know, over time, and it sits out in just a 70-degree temperature, not like a fridge. It's much colder than that, about 50 or something, 40, 50 degrees. If that happens, then it's going to turn into this. This is basically just the natural transformation, and no, it doesn't go bad. Now, if for some reason you had milk for a really long time, like I said, and it turns into, you've got mold on it, that's different. I would throw it out. But we got a pillowcase. I just want to show you all how easy this process is. This could be cheesecloth. It could be a bag of cheesecloth over a sieve, setting over the bowl. It could be an old t-shirt if you can use it right, tie a knot in it. It could be anything. This will work. It may take a little longer for us to strain it, but we're just going to start pouring it in our bag. This is basically a sack. And we want some of it at the bottom to help keep it from, but it's going to be harder to go through this, so I should be good. We want actual just whey. We don't want to mash this right now or anything, because we want mostly whey, and we don't want the actual
you want the curds, yeah.
So what we're going to do now is we've got to find a place to hang it, because it's going to have to take a while to do its little thing for us while we're gone. And then we're going to go do other videos for y'all while this process is out, because this took us a while to get to this stage. And all I'm going to do is this. I'm going to make sure it's up here, it does not fall off. And we'll be moving on. And I love milk products. I know I do low carb, high fat, and some people can't deal with them supposedly. But most of these processed products like this that are lacto-fermented or fermented naturally from the bacteria in the milk are very low carb. This cheese will be low carbohydrate, just like the buttermilk was low carbohydrate. The lactose and the galactose in the milk, which is the two substances which are actually a form of glucose, their complex chain, end up getting eaten up by the actual bacteria. So we're going to leave this and let it strain, and you can see we're starting to get whey in here. It's going to take a while. And there may be some curds that make it through that settle in the bottom, but that's okay. We're just going to pour the whey off when we store it. And we'll be back later. We're back. And we have our whey. I'll show you that here in the bowl. I may strain this again later. We used a blue cloth. Now, some people would argue that you shouldn't use anything that's colored, which is a, like I said, this is a pillowcase. But I'm not really worried about it. I already knew it wouldn't bleed. If you're afraid of that, use white. Like I said, you could use bed sheeting material. You could use anything, a t-shirt. You want to make sure it's clean. Make sure it's very clean and rinsed. You don't want any soap or anything in it like that. And as for sterilizing this stuff, just to let y'all know, I just use plain old detergents like soap. I don't use antibacterial. I don't think it's really good for you. It's not good for the environment. This stuff here has its own bacteria. Nothing that's bad is going to live in it because it's white. It'll kill any bad bacteria. So I would not really worry about that. Let me go ahead and open this up here and see what our cream cheese looks like. Sorry, I don't want to cut the sheet or the pillowcase. That out of the way there. And we're going to open it up, and I'm basically just going to show you down inside here as I spread it to see what our cream cheese looks like. And of course, the way I did it in this long bag, which made it easier for me to pour and stuff, could probably be a little drier, I'm going to be honest. Probably a little drier, but we're kind of speeding things up here to show you the process. We could have it a lot drier than that, but we've got a nice cream cheese. Still got quite a bit of whey in it that could probably be separated out. I might hang it back up in a bit to do that. I don't know, it's not that bad. Really, it's not that bad at all. But anyway, what you kind of do is to store it. Let's say I want to put it in this container. You just take it out, and you can see it's got a real cream cheese texture. And we're going to just put it in this jar here. It's going to be kind of difficult because of the way I've got it in here, and it's a little, like I said, it's a little wetter than normal. I probably rushed it a little bit for you because I wanted you to be able to see the video. But this is our actual cream cheese, and I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me do this and I drop something on the counter and everything else. I'm being very clumsy with it, but it's very good, and it's mild compared to the actual other product I had. The actual Curds and Whey, as people call it, or the Clabber, is different. I'm not going to make you watch me do this, like I said. We can set that down just for a second, and I'll get this in here. Don't want to go through the whole process, but I'm just going to pour my whey in here so you can see that, and store it in this container here. And this will last, the whey will last and have a good culture in it, and be used to start cultures and so on for quite some time. Might have overestimated. I may need a bigger jar. I may need a bigger jar. But of course, there's a lot of, but like here, this was an old sauerkraut jar that was cleaned out. And, sorry, I'm getting stuff all over my hands and everything, I apologize. But you can store this in the fridge for, I'm going to clean all this off and everything, for like 6 months or so. And it'll still be good. You can use it to help start ferments. You can use it for fermentation. You can use it to put stuff in it and to preserve it. I will show you how to do all that. We're going to have other videos on that. I'm going to have to work on getting this in here. I may even decide to put it over this a little bit longer and drain it before I do that, to be honest with you. Because, like I said, it's still a little bit wet, but you see what you got here. You've got a product very much like cream cheese. You can spread this on toast. If you want to season it, put some kind of flavoring in it, you can do that as well. It's almost the end of our episode here. We basically explained how to do everything. This is very good. I got a riddle for y'all. Basically, I had a dream once, and it was weird. I actually had a riddle in the dream, and I don't know if anybody else has anything like this, but I had to really think about it, but I answered it. I think I have the answer to it. But the riddle is basically, what are the two things you can consume without harming anything? What are the two things you can sustain yourself on and consume without harming anything? I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and have you all answer that down below, if you know what the two items are, the two things. And see what y'all say. And I'll give you the answer in the next video, or possibly just give it to you in the comments down below if everybody persists on it. But I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and this is how you make Curds and Whey, and at the end you end up with cream cheese and whey as a product afterwards if you process it out like this. I don't like making cottage cheese with it, because if you go to the process of boiling it and all that, you'll end up with a product that's different, but I pretty much like the cream cheese out of it. Anyway, before we go.